was just about to say, O'Keefe's gone colour coordinated here. He's got a black and green car and he's got black and green tyres on, and Arnaud's gone for it as well. We are seeing drivers go for the intermediate tyres.
Yes, are you broadcasting, my son?
I am broadcasting. I think what happened there is, unfortunately, for some reason, the broadcast decided to stop. But we're back with part 2. You didn't miss anything because it's under a safety car. The only thing you maybe missed is Arnaud and O'Keefe going onto those intermediate tyres. So that says to me, and you can see visibly, the rain has stopped dramatically. Still just a few spots of rain, but thankfully that is all it's going to be. And I would surprise me if when the safety car does come in, maybe just one more lap, I think, under the safety car, we see everyone else start heading in for the intermediate. So this could be good for Arnaud and O'Keefe to head. Well, they will be taking the lead of this race, I'd imagine, after the safety car comes in. Hopefully that will be next lap around.
I was just watching Try again, sorry. I was just watching ST Mats on the run up to turn 3 on this lap. He was right up the inside of the safety car as it was trying to go around that 90 right.
Yeah, that is definitely something you don't want to do, get too close to the safety car. In fact, he's just slowing down a bit there. Someone who might find this a bit difficult on the restart is Pete, Speed United, on 14 lap old wet tyres. They will suffer a lot more once it starts drying out than those behind him. So wouldn't surprise me if he's one of the next drivers to head in. Surprised Jess hasn't gone for it yet, given that she's at the back of the field and doesn't have anything to lose by maybe trying something different, and in fact could have a lot to gain because she's not going to catch the safety car queue up anyway. I don't think at the moment, if it comes in this lap, it's going to be pretty marginal for her, 15 seconds back, so it might have been worth her trying something a bit different. Thankfully though, because it is getting a bit lighter, we haven't had the same chaos we've had under the safety car the last couple of times.
No, they can actually see what's happening at least 10 metres in front of them now.
Which is always handy when you're driving along the main street at about 200 miles an hour.
200 miles an hour. Sort of works that one out. Safety car is in this lap. ST Mats leads from Pete, Khalifa, J. Luke and Paul.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting indeed to see who does come into the pits. Jess has just managed to catch up to the pack. I think we saw last time, I think it was Bazza and ended up nearly going straight into the back of the safety car, which would have been very interesting indeed if that would have happened, because it's a very late warning to give you on these F1 games. Don't really give you plenty of time, but ST Mats has got to be clear. The safety car, you can't overtake it before the first safety car line, and that is why he's leaving it extremely late, but he doesn't look to be taking a line to head into the pits. We've seen J. Luke there dive off, but we're back racing again. Hopefully we won't get any more interruptions from Bert
Khalifa on the back of Pete and the run down to turn 1. Khalifa goes to the inside of Pete. He's going to force him wide. No, he's not. Pete retains his position. Sorry to cut in there, Luke.
No worries. I think that just shows that maybe the tyres are wearing, and we saw the nice little Amazon message there that the pit window is open for a one-stop strategy on the intermediates. That says to me it's definitely getting towards intermediate conditions and that they will last towards the end of the race. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more pit. J. Luke came in on that lap. He will now be down in last position. We'll see how Arnaud and O'Keefe are doing. They're hanging on to the rest of the cars around them, which is a good sign for them that they might have got this just right timing to be worth pitting for the intermediate tyres, obviously under that safety car period. But 11 laps to go, we're nearly at the halfway point. Everyone has done the compulsory 2 stops apart from Pete and ST Mats, and we know that everyone's going to be coming in for intermediates anyway at some point, so that's not a worry. In fact, we're going to see a few of these drivers hit 4 stops. And
there's a safety car. That's number 4, so if the game is anything like last year's, what was I going to say? They can only have 5 safety car periods.
So hopefully we won't get many more, because it's definitely a lot drier now. You can see ST Mats is in. Everyone but Khalifa, I think, is going to come in on this lap, and yeah, Jess is in as well. So Khalifa's the only one who's staying out on those wet tyres. I mean, he doesn't need to pit again, but I'd highly recommend it. I know my driving might not be the best, but I think definitely the rain has slowed down a lot. You can see a dry line, but just to the right of Khalifa there, who's heading down towards turn 2. A lot of standing water, and the intermediate tyres do not like that one bit. So maybe just for now he feels a bit more confident on these wets. And Arnold and O'Keefe, it's all worked out for them. They're second and third, and surely after the safety car comes in and when Khalifa does pit, they're going to find themselves in the lead all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I've just had confirmation in the chat that all 4 safety cars have been for rain. Wow. Even the one where Risky crashed out on the pit straight, that was just yellow flags. The safety car come out later on in the lap for wet weather.
Yeah, I was thinking that, to be honest, because they looked to have cleared the incident and it was a bit slow. They are normally a bit quicker with that, but it is purely down to the rain, which the first 2 safety cars for the rain I definitely understood. In fact, I was surprised they brought the first one in. The third one wasn't a fan of. This one, definitely not. If drivers are on intermediate tyres, it is not too wet. Let these guys go racing. They know what they're doing.
And we use the term wet weather loosely. The first 2 were stormy weather, not wet weather.
Oh yeah, it was monsoon. It was, think about building an ark time for that weather. It was properly throwing it down there. But we'll just run through the order then at the end of lap 19. Still 17 laps to go here. Khalifa, the sole man, still on the wet tyres at the moment in the lead of this race. And you can see he has gained 16 positions after invalidating in qualifying. Arnaud has gone up 3. Him and O'Keefe were the first drivers to change to the intermediates, and that's got themselves second and third. Estimax leading before this safety car in 4th place after starting 3rd. So he's been at the start near the lead since the start pretty much. Pete 5th, Luke 6th, Bazza 7th, Riley 8th, Speedy Racer 9th, Paul 10th, and Jess still in the race 11th and last at the moment. It's going to be very interesting indeed to see when Khalifa comes into the pits, and I think everyone else on the intermediate should be able to make theirs last till the end. So hopefully, and I've said this a few times, and touch wood, don't want to jinx it this time, that they should be able to just go all out towards the end.
You'd like to think, and I'm looking down at P5, I'm looking at Pete and SD Mats as well a little bit. I'm thinking they're the ones that have nailed this strategy. Yes, Arnold and OKK were the first to go onto the Inters, but I just think with that extra life that Pete and SD have, that should be enough to carry them through to victory, providing we don't get another safety car, and providing they don't bin it.
Yeah, that could be very
We've seen a lot of that.
Yes. Indeed. So there we go. Safety car is coming in this lap. The lights are off. Khalifa basically takes over that job, but you're all familiar with the safety car procedure now. If you weren't before this race, you definitely are now. 4 safety cars, all weather related, in the first 20 laps of the race, and now Khalifa is gunning it. He is going for this, staying out on the circuit for now, so he still thinks he's got plenty of life in them wet tyres, but he's going to drop right towards the back of the field once it gets a bit drier and he needs to make another pit. But here we go. We're racing once again. Khalifa maintaining the lead. Him, Arnaud and O'Keefe have definitely got away from Estimat, who seems to have been napping a bit there in 4th place, and we're already seeing some moves. Riley sending one down the inside, hopping over the curve to get past Bazza, but you can just see those intermediates struggling for grip. They're going side by side, bit of wheel banging down towards turn 2 and turn 3. Is it going to be Riley to go round the outside then now? And he ends up dropping back behind Bazza, and Speedy Racer just trying to get the Schumacher car alongside in 9th place. Not able to do so. J. Luke's got a bit of wheel spin again coming out of turn 3 there.
J. Luke's got damage on his front wing there as well. Contact with Pete, I think, coming out of turn 3. Bazza sends one up the inside. Again, a bit racy now.
Bazza is not messing about. He wants to catch up. You can see Esteban has been able to get a long way ahead. I wonder if Pete's got any damage as well, because he seemed to have dropped a long way back. No, not any visible damage, but that's not to say he doesn't have any minor front wing issues, which will cause chaos, and this is ridiculous. Right, if it is like the last game, we are only allowed 5, so we know we're not going to get any more after this. Just cross everything, guys. Yeah, here we go. Safety car number 5 for the weather, or Bert Mylander clearly just fancies a bit of a show. We're getting the Mercedes leading. Luke dives into the pits. He'll be pretty pleased with that, because his front wing change won't end up costing him too much. Only a couple of positions, and he'll have fresh intermediate tyres on towards the end of this race. Slightly fresher than everyone else's, as we just look at the life of everyone's tyres very quickly. You can see there just a couple of laps difference on those around. Arnold and O'Keefe will be pretty glad for this safety car because it beat theirs intermediates in good condition as well. I think it's fair to say we're hoping this is like the last game and you were only allowed 5 safety cars. Otherwise, this could become a pattern.
Are we going to be bold and say this is 5 of 5, or is this number 5 of... Well, we don't know yet.
I'm going bold. I'm saying it's 5 of 5 because I know they usually don't like bringing them out too late either. So we might get up to 6 or 7 if we're unlucky. But any more than that, I can't see happening. But here we go. We've got another few laps of onboard weather. I think it has got slightly darker, but it's not. The rain's not got any heavier. You can now see when you're in the spray of the car behind from Arnaud. You can see Khalifa's car quite clearly, and not just see a blinking red light every now and then, which is good. And we're not seeing any of the collisions we were seeing under the safety car earlier. That is what claimed quite a few of these drivers further down the field. John, Iceman, Newgard and MK Bourne just all got caught up behind another car and ended up crashing out.
Khalifa dummied into the pits there. Sector 3 is the driest of the 3 sectors, I would say, apart from that final turn. But it's not anywhere near as bad as what we saw on lap 5, lap 6.
Yeah, I did see some... Under the last safety car, I saw a lot of standing water on this stretch of track now, heading up towards turn 2 and turn 3 off of the racing line. So I'm just going to stay on board with Khalifa, and we'll see if we've still got them, like some of these huge puddles. It's maybe slightly, but it doesn't look as bad, I don't think. And the drier line is a lot more noticeable. So, come on, guys, just let them get out and race, please. We want to see some flat-out action towards the end, because we've still got 11 cars in this race who are going to be extremely close together, maybe with the exception of Khalifa for when he comes into the pits. In fact, maybe there's some coding thing and it thinks, oh, it's really wet and we've got someone on wet tyres. We need to bring out the safety car. I mean, who knows what's happening in the background?
I was just retweeting you there.
No worries. Safety car is in this lap, thankfully that's a fairly short one, and Khalifa should be well practiced about this. He only did it about 5 minutes ago, leading the pack around. When he comes across the line, we'll have 13 laps, and whether there'll be any more yellow flag safety cars, VSCs or whatever, because it's looking a bit brighter across that side of the Styrian Mountains. When you get to that side, it still looks very overcast and dull indeed. But will Khalifa come into the pits? He's already dummied once earlier on under the safety car. Will he dummy again, or will he just head straight to the pits to change those tyres? No, it looks like he's staying out a bit longer. So Khalifa will be leading them across the line. Again, Arnaud and O'Keefe following him. Estimat seems to have dropped back ever so slightly, and Arnaud has got a good exit. Well, here we go, racing again. Lap 24 out of 36. Bazza, they're showing a disqualification on my screen for ignoring a drive-through penalty, and Riley's crashed into him because obviously Bazza didn't have any control of his car. That is a disaster for the pair of them. Nothing I don't think Riley could have done there. Just wasn't expecting Bazza to slow down. Obviously, you can't serve your drive-through under safety car conditions, and I'm thinking he just forgot at the end because it had been so many laps since he'd seen it. So that is Riley and Bazza out. We're down to 9 cars.
You'd like to think he would have had a reminder up on the screen, but apparently not. Perhaps we're exposing all of Codemaster's problems once again. The game's only been out a week and a half.
Yeah, well, let's not forget the full-time game. The 70 edition's been out less than a week. It's a week tomorrow as we've got Luke and Paul McGinn here really battling hard through turn 4 and 5. In the end, Luke has the inside line for turn 6. He wouldn't have been able to do that a few laps ago with the conditions, so that shows there is definitely more grip, and maybe, just maybe, if we don't see a safety car, we'll be able to get an idea of how much faster the track is at the moment. We'll go up towards the lead. We can see fastest lap of the race so far would have been, well, that's not helpful, Crazy Flying Rob doing one in 53 seconds. He must have done the short circuit.
That was a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, we've got sort of 1 minute 15, so we'll be able to see what sort of time to do this time around. But I am impressed by how well Khalifa's wet tyres are holding on at the moment.
Absolutely. Of course, one of the star drivers from last season, so you'd expect good things from him. But Arnold, likewise, one of the best from season 1, closing that gap. Should have him here, surely. Khalifa's sliding, squirming all out the exit of turn 3. Arnold under the rear wing. Will he go left? Will he go right? He's going to go to the right. Arnold into the braking zone. Much braver. Got the grip. I think there's a bit of contact there as well. But he gets the move done. Into P1 he goes.
Yeah, and that just shows it is drying up a bit, because even on the wet line, Arnold had the grip to get that braking manoeuvre done. So I think Khalifa's tactic of maybe just holding on, beginning to cause a few problems for him now, and O'Keefe will be looking to follow him through sooner rather than later, I imagine. Estimats is 4th, Speed Knight and 5th. So these top 5 all very close together. In fact, Pete was fastest of anyone in Sector 2, and I think we're going to see the fastest lap go tumbling down here at the moment to give us a clue how far off we are, as O'Keefe gets multiple warnings for corner cutting and track limits. So here we go, lap 26 out of 36, and there we go, O'Keefe trying to go down the inside of Khalifa and gets that manoeuvre done. That was crucial for him, because Arnold already pulled out a second, and Estimat, yeah, Matt's just having a better exit, and that is going to be a clean manoeuvre done before the braking zone. Khalifa's going to try and fight back, but I just don't think he's going to have the grip to do so, and it's worth trying something different, and on another day it may have worked out, but unfortunately not today for Khalifa, and he's going to find himself dropping down the field. Estimat's looking very racy all of a sudden. Let's not forget he was leading this race at one point, but because O'Keefe and Arnold pitted earlier for the intermediate tyres, that is what got them in the lead of this race, as we just see the car ahead of him squirm ever so slightly, but not able to make that overtake through turn 6 unless you are pretty much alongside the car in front. And I don't want to jinx anything, but it looks like we've got a few laps without a safety car.
I'm not going to reply to that comment, but I am going to say Pete and Khalifa are going to go wheel to wheel. Khalifa defending half of that P4. Arch nemesis, these two. Good friends off of it, but on track they always come up with a bit of contact, but they provide the excitement that the league is based on, I think. Pete, will he go? Khalifa defensive. He's forced to the outside, into the braking zone. Again on those newer tyres, those intermediates. He's got the grip, but he's spun. Oh.
He's spun, but thankfully for him, he's managed to avoid the wall, and I think Khalifa will be thinking maybe there's a tiny bit of revenge there for getting overtaken towards the end of last season and just missing out on the title. But I think Khalifa's going to find himself in a bit of trouble. We've got Yorby now. He's managed to get past Luke, battling with Luke, and in fact Paul McGinn might be able to follow through as well, just not getting the grip out of that corner. But we are seeing a few more battles. The driver's definitely feeling a lot more confident on these intermediate tyres now that they're in more drivable conditions. This is a great battle we've got here for 5th, 6th and 7th, and that of course gives Khalifa a bit of breathing room at the moment. He needs all the space that he needs. Surely Luke's not going to do it around the outside of turn 6. That would have been an incredible move. Just gets forced wide. Paul says thank you very much, I'll take that 6th position. So tough but fair from Speedy Racer. He had the inside, and that's not really a place he would have expected to be finding himself under pressure, as Luke again looking very fast to try and recover that position. And even though they're battling, they are still catching up ever so slightly to Khalifa. But out in front, Arnaud looking pretty good at the moment. 1.8 seconds the gap back to O'Keefe, who's a second ahead of Estimat. The only slight question for these two at the front is, can their intermediates stay in a good enough condition for the remaining 9 laps, especially if it begins to dry out a tiny bit more?
You'd like to think they'll be fine, but it looks like J. Luke's trying to mount an attack on Paul McGuinness up to get him into turn 3. Yori will not go defensive, he doesn't need to. But J. Luke's going to send one up the inside of Paul. Paul squirmy on the exit, but gets away with it.
Yeah, almost like
J. Luke's going to come back at him.
Yeah, almost like what Leclerc and Vettel did there at the weekend, but with no contact, thankfully. As J. Luke's going to have to go round the outside on the curb. You're not going to find much grip there, and Paul's just managed to defend, but Luke looks very racy at the moment. Oh, I think if he's got some free air, he'd definitely be quicker than Yori, and possibly Paul as well, because he's finding himself stuck behind Yori, but well, he's not in the free air, so he needs to find a way past these cars.
Oh, J. Luke. Yeah.
Just about holds on to that, but might need to pit again for some new underpants if he does that a few more times. Speedy Racer finding it hard to keep ahead of Paul at the moment, but just about staying ahead now in 5th and 6th position, and they aren't gaining on Khalifa in front, so he's losing a lot of time, obviously, to the front 3. So this is really ending, I think, any slim chances these 3 drivers had of getting onto that podium position, and I think it won't be for long before Pete starts catching up to the back of them as well. Last year's champion will want to get back up to Khalifa and get the move done cleanly. This time around, Paul will have to go slightly defensive into turn 3. Is Luke going to be able to hold it on the brakes all the way around the outside? I think he might have had half a chance if he hadn't been blocked by a Yori-sized F1 car there. He's still going side by side with Paul, and in the end, I think Paul just holds back slightly, lets him have that move. Now it's Racer versus Luke, and Speedy Racer does have that position. Luke might be able to get the cut back though over the curb. You're not going to find too much grip in these conditions, but he's got a lightning shoot off of turn 4 and 5 all the way around the outside. What a move by Luke.
This time around he does it. Great move.
Yeah, now we'll be able to see what he can
now
do.
Paul's going to follow him through, look.
Paul trying his hardest to follow him through. He's found it a bit harder to get past Yori. It must have frustrated him that Luke managed to get straight back past him and then straight ahead of Yori round the outside at turn 9 and 10. Perhaps taking a bit of inspiration from Luke, trying wherever you can. He tries to get the better exit there coming out of that corner. He is in the slipstream, no DRS obviously, and I'll be surprised if we see that at any point in this race because of the conditions. Nearly into the back of him there. And that might give Pete a chance to get a much better exit on the run down to turn 3. But Pete gets himself a bit of wheel spin out of the corner, so Yori and Paul can just breathe a tiny bit, I think, heading up the hill. But if there's one man who's going to go for that late lunge, it would have been Pete, but not able to do anything at the moment. Up near the lead of this race, for second position in fact, Estimac and Okiki really battling for this position. And in fact, Estimac is missing his front right end plate, so to say he's got a lot of pace at the moment.
He's gone down the inside of Paul, by the way. He can't hold it. Paul took the Alex Albon line and got away with it.
Yeah, so maybe he's learned from Alex Albon, getting away with it once just about, and definitely not getting away with it a couple of weeks ago. But Paul's still in 7th place for now, and you can just see Luke's managed to pull 3 seconds out on Yori. That's how crucial it was for him to get ahead, and in fact he'll be right on the back of Khalifa and getting past Khalifa shortly to get 4th position, which I imagine might be as high as he can get. But Estimat, I think, has just picked up some damage, as there we go, Luke straight away getting past Khalifa. Nothing Khalifa can do on those tyres at the moment, so he stays in. Well, he goes down to 5th place. His only hope is that everyone else's tyres don't last, but I can't see that being a problem. Still Paul fighting with Speedy Racer, still not able to find a way past Yori, now that he can't really afford to go for a lunge because Pete will be there to take advantage if he goes for something a bit crazy. Paul trying to go round the outside, get the cut back. Not sure there's enough traction though in these conditions, and without DRS you can't get that overlap done as easily. Gonna have to try it somewhere different, a bit like what Luke did, just catch him by surprise maybe in this middle sector.
Paul was looking everywhere for a way past Yori. He's putting up a stellar defensive performance here. He's looking for routes through Switzerland and Hungary and Germany just to get around Yori, but he just cannot do it, Paul. Yori, fantastic drive so far for P6. He'll hope to hold on to this at the end of the race, providing penalties don't ruin it. Also allowing his team speed teammate to come back into it. He was having problems through turn 1, but he's back in the battle now, just about. As Yori will go another lap, keeping Paul behind him.
Yeah, these are actually starting to just catch up to Khalifa slightly, so maybe just getting held up by another car might give Paul and Pete the opportunity they need maybe to get ahead. We'll have to wait and see. 5 to go in the lead, and we haven't really shown him for a bit because he's just sort of on his own. It is Arnaud, now 4.3 seconds ahead of O'Keefe. Estimat has dropped back with that damage, 3 seconds behind, so looks like those positions might be pretty much sorted. Paul again looking for the outside at turn 2. Is he able to just do it cleanly on the brakes? No, he is not. And Pete's gone into the back of him there, and that has sent Paul round. Such a shame because they'd been battling so well indeed. Pete's got some, I think, quite major front wing damage in the end. Definitely losing an end plate. And Paul... Paul again just finding it a bit difficult there. And I think Pete just got caught out by the line Paul was trying to take to get that cutback on Yori.
Yeah, not the cleanest of moves. I don't even think we can class it as a move, but Paul from last season's champion, I think I was on board with him at the time. I think he could have done a bit better. Waited because he was certainly catching up to Paul, but lucky it's only a test race. I think has done enough to prove he's got the pace to get a seat, and now it's just about finishing as high as possible.
Yeah, he should be able to catch up to Pete, definitely, because Pete, at least he's got some nice balance now because he's got both end plates missing, so maybe that's slightly better than only having one missing, who knows. But anyway, out in front still Arnaud. Now Yori, he's managed to hold off the battle of those behind, and he can do a bit of attacking himself shortly as he begins to catch up to Khalifa in 5th place. We haven't spoken about Jess for a while. She is in last place, but she's still going around. She's managed to survive, and given that the carnage of tonight, and I've spoken to her quite a few times, I know she's not a fan of wet conditions whatsoever, but I think she does enjoy this circuit, so she'll be pretty happy that she's just managed to keep it pointed in the right direction. Did lose a front wing at some point, but luckily for her, didn't retire. Still going around at the moment in 9th place in the neon pink and cyan car number 95. Surprised Yuri isn't catching up to Khalifa as quickly as he is doing. I thought he'd be going a bit faster at the moment.
He
but
is getting there though. He's not far off now. In fact, Khalifa's going slow here on the run down to turn, well, officially turn 9, to us is turn 8. Yellow flags in sector 3.
Not sure who that is for, to be honest. Don't know if Luke's maybe just
Here you go.
had a slight off,
Yuri's
but here we
through.
go, yeah. Khalifa on the outside. Speedy Racer should have the inside line, but he just hasn't got the straight line speed there, and Khalifa able to hold that off. So we'll have to see for traction out of this corner. That should be interesting. Not too bad from Khalifa on his 22-year-old wet tyres, and he does look to have a bit more straight line than Yuri has got at the moment. Yeah, there we go. Down the inside this time. Much more traction from Yuri. Maybe he set up his car in a way so he's a bit better around the corners, and that's why he was so good at defending from Paul and Pete and actually Luke for quite a long time. But in the end, can't do much about it. He's up to 5th. Paul has managed to get ahead of Pete for 7th place. Obviously, with this shorter time left in the race, it is not worth Pete pitting. It's a bit of a tongue twister. He's just going to stay out on the circuit and hope he can stay ahead of Jess. But for the leader, Arnaud, it's been a great strategy from himself and O'Keefe. You know, 1-2, first 2 drivers to pit for the intermediate tyres, and as long as they can keep it pointing in the right direction for the next 2 and a bit minutes, they are going to be 1-2 in this race. And a good job from Esty Mats. He's still got that damage, but it looks like he's going to hold on to 3rd position.
Yeah, fantastic job from Esty. But I guess we can do driver of the day now, can't we? Certainly Arnaldo, KK, they've got to be up there for the strategy call. Yuri for some fantastic defending. J-Luke's done really well as well, I must admit. But yeah, coming to the end of this race. Finally starting to get a bit of sun coming through the clouds. I don't know if you can see that, Luke.
Yeah, there's a tiny bit. I've seen it happen before, whereas the race winners cross the finish line, it's come up with DRS enabled, which I'm sure is a bit useless for the drivers. I don't think we're going to get to that point, but yeah, I don't think we could argue with those drivers of the day. I mean, I think J. Luke's got to deserve to be up there just for that move he pulled off on Speedy Racer. He tried it once, got forced wide slightly, well in Yuri's rights to do that, and he ended up losing the position to Paul. He got back past Paul, gave it another try and managed to pull it off. But here we go, 1 to go for Arnaud. He's in the lead. It's the white flag lap, as they'd say over in NASCAR and IndyCar. He's leading by 6.1 seconds at the moment. Field just spreading out ever so slightly. Khalifa did go for the pit stop in the end. He might try and get the fastest lap at the end of the race just to show that he has still got that pace, despite this not being an ideal race for him. Tried something different, and unfortunately for him, just didn't work out in the end.
No, not his best day, but Khalifa, I think, going to be a reserve driver this season anyway, so he won't be too downbeat about it. But we do expect better from him, normally. He has also said to me he only intends on being a reserve driver for the regular season races. He doesn't want to get in the way of any of the playoff drivers later in the season. He knows what it's like to be there. He knows how important those points are. So good man is Khalifa. But anyway, Arnold has 2 corners to go. KK's going to follow him around a steady 2nd place.
Yeah, it's been a great performance from Arnold and OKK. That early pit stop worked for both of them. They kept their tyres in a good enough condition. And the showcase race here at the Red Bull Ring. Winner is Arnold in 1st position. OKK just picks up a penalty on the final corner, but I think he'll still be good enough for 2nd position. And Esty Mats comes home to complete the podium position in the end. Great recovery from J. Luke and a nice little crash across the finish line. In fact, it won't surprise me if that somehow brings out another safety car. He's in 4th, and then we've got a bit of a long wait for Yuri with some great defending in 5th. Unlucky for Paul in the end, but managed to recover to 6th. Bit of a nightmare for last year's champion Pete. He'll be hoping that the races go better for him starting next week at Bahrain in the full season. They definitely won't have the rain to contend with. He's 7th. Jess is 8th. And Khalifa, I think, ended up 9th. And the final of the finishers in what was a very interesting, I think we can safely say unique, showcase race here to kick off Jacko Car.
Absolutely. Don't forget, there's more of this to come tomorrow night, and then next week we begin in Bahrain.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Game's happy with Jay Luke's performance. I think maybe just because he's gained the most places, but he gets the driver of the day. Arnaud, fantastic strategy call from him and Okiki to in themselves that 1-2, and maybe, just maybe, Estimax is looking at those in third place thinking that could have been me. He was leading this race at some point before those two pitted under the safety car. So there's the positions. 3 stops for Arnaud and Okiki. Didn't matter. They take the win. Okiki gaining 11 positions. Estimat started 3rd, finished 3rd. That makes his race sound a lot simpler than it actually was. Luke, 11 places gained in 4th. Yori gained 14 places. Paul gained 12. They're 5th and 6th. Pete in the end finishing in 7th. Jess manages to get it towards the line in 8th. Khalifa 9th. We saw Riley retire after crashing into the back of Baz's disqualified car. Bill and Kyle collected risky. I think Flying Rob had a few connection issues and that's why he ended up retiring. And we saw the big carnage under the first safety car with John, Iceman, Newgarden and MK Borno getting taken out. And there is Bazza, who was disqualified for not serving his penalty. I think there'll be a lot of drivers will be happy with their performance tonight, but equally a lot of drivers will be hoping that when it comes to the full season next week, that they've got some measures to try and improve and hope for a better race.
Absolutely. Although for the majority of those drivers now, their fate lies very much in the hands of the 5 team leaders who will be carrying out the draft on Saturday.
Yes, indeed. The draft will be happening on Saturday, where a lot of these drivers will be hoping that they can manage to get into Jacko Car, or at least obviously get themselves a reserve slot, because there has been a lot of sign-ups for this season, over 30 sign-ups, so a lot of drivers are going to have to prove themselves. And let's not forget, we've got a lot of drivers who are trying to prove themselves, as you said, tomorrow night, Jacko, around Silverstone.
Absolutely. Tomorrow night we see the other team leader, Thomas, and all of last season's full-time drivers that didn't race tonight. And if there's any spaces, you might see a couple of these guys that you saw this evening race again. It's more of a test session tomorrow rather than a showcase, but we'll be at Silverstone. 50%, hopefully less safety cars, hopefully less rain. But yeah, more of a formality would be good. And like we say, July 18th, Saturday, the draft, 7 PM, live on YouTube. The 15 drivers, or the 15 slots that are available, will be filled out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets them slots. I'm sure a few drivers will think that they definitely put themselves in the shop window tonight for the team leaders. But that is it for this showcase race. Thanks for Jacko for joining me once again in the comms box. He'll be alongside Austin tomorrow for the test race around Silverstone. Like you said, Saturday 7 PM for the draft before the proper season starts next week on Thursday at 7 PM for round 1 of 10 of the regular season for Jacko Car Season 2. But for myself and Jacko, thank you so much for watching. It was a very intriguing race tonight in very difficult conditions, but in the end it was Arnaud who came out on top. Will he get himself a decent drive this season, and will he be able to carry on to that form? You'll have to check that out next week, and don't forget obviously to miss the rest of the events this weekend. But for myself and Jacko, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time around. Good night.